If you're a fan of the Sly Guy Podcast and you want to help us get it to the next level, you can become a patron over on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. And what's the point in doing that, I hear you ask? Well, what you can get over there is a lot of bonus content, a lot of fun. Every week you get the elusive guest episode. Every Friday we have a guest on the podcast and it's available only for patrons. Some recent guests have included Psychic Glenn, which has been, wow, what an episode that was. We have had William Thompson, we have had Andrew Smith, we have had Reese McClanahan, and some upcoming guests that we're going to be having over there will be Mickey Bartlett, Aaron Butler, Annette Kelly, Danny Simpson. A lot of fun guests coming up only on patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. So if you want that, plus an audio only extra Sly Guy Podcast every Monday, and the bonus podcast Dog Walks with Davey, plus access to this podcast a day early, patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. You will not be disappointed, and if you are, there's no pleasing, is there, really? If you'd like to see my new stand-up show Bits and Pieces live at the Ulster Hall on the 10th of September 2022, you can buy a ticket. That's the only way to do it. If you want to see it, that's the only way to do it. Tickets are now available via Ticketmaster or the Ulster Hall website, depending on your preference. If for some reason you go, I'd much rather buy via Ticketmaster, you can do that. Or if you want to get via the Ulster Hall, you can do that. But one thing that is for sure, the links to the show are on my social media accounts. So on Instagram, Dave Elliott Comedy. On Facebook, Dave Elliott Comedy. On Twitter, The Dave Elliott, because that's just what that handle is too. So you can get the tickets there, come and have a good time, and if you're at the last show, you'll know about it. Ulster Hall, 10th of September. Let's go. The Sly Guy Podcast is brought to you in association with Modest Beer, the original friend and sponsor of the show, Modest Beer. Modest are modest by name and modest by nature. Well, that's what they'd tell you anyway. I don't really think they're modest by nature anymore. They're expanding. They're expanding like a bodybuilder in the off-season. Those guys are heading to the stars, and they've been here with us from day one, and there's no stopping that connection. So they can't get rid of me unless they divorce me, and that's not going to happen. So if you want to know more about Modest Beer, about their journey, about their cause, about their beer, visit their website, www.modestbeer.co.uk, or if you want to be a real cheeky bastard, find them on all social media platforms at, you guessed it, Modest Beer. Enjoy the show.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the critically acclaimed by nobody Sly Guy Podcast with me, your host, Dave Elliott. Bit of a different episode this week because I'm the prince. I know I said a few weeks ago I'm Lord David Elliott, but I am the prince of the podcast today. And I mean that not in terms of title, but I mean that in terms of function. As in the artist formerly known as Alive, Prince, he used to just play everything. He used to play his guitar, he used to produce, he used to direct, he used to play drums. Maybe played a harmonica, I don't know. Maybe he did that other one. Whatever that is, he did them all, because that's what I'm doing today. I am producing, I am control of sound, lighting, content, the works, solo production of the podcast. And why is that, I hear you ask? Have I, for whatever reason, decided to be sound and given the snake rat the day off? Nah, fuck that guy. His son got COVID. Hope he's okay. The snake rat, not so much. But he's left me in the lurch. I'm here by myself. But listen, you know what they say in the world? They say sometimes in life you get handed bags of shit. And it's up to you to deal with the bags of shit. What do you do with the bags of shit? Do you walk around for the rest of the fucking day holding a bag of shit, stinking of shit? Or do you just deal with the shit by putting it in the bin and trumping on with the rest of your day like a big boy? And that's what I've done. I'm trumping on myself. I'm running the show. I am a producer, director, lighting assistant, props guy, locations manager, the works. But this is what the Sly Guy Podcast is. It is a team effort. Now, are you going to give off about the lighting? Will Ben probably get at me about the lighting? Yes. Do I care? No, because I've come to work and he hasn't. So he's getting stripped a week's wages and I'm taking them. I'm docking him a week's wages and I'm taking the week's wages. And do I care if his son has got COVID? Do I? Is that my problem? No, to feed my own kids He's getting docked a week's wages. And I want an apology in the newspapers as well, in the tabloids. I want them to make an official apology for missing it. But in all seriousness, listen, the show goes on. Now, am I going to say just off the bat, do I need to drink water very soon in this week's episode? Yes, I've made it too hot in here. You might notice in the last number of weeks I've been wearing hoodies. Today, I think I'm menopausal. I have to wear my t-shirt. I'm too hot. And also there's radiator right there. I'm dry. I'm too hot. I'm not happy. Okay? And that's another problem. Just to let you know, I have noticed recently that I am kind of an old man. I'm not in like my mindset or my opinions, which definitely are old, but in terms of physicality, this week I decided to myself, right, it's the time to, really put the pedal to the metal on this whole being fit lark. I want to live. I was going to say forever. I don't want to live forever. I think no one deserves that. I think nobody has done anything to deserve having to listen to me for an eternity. No one needs that kind of punishment. But I would just like to be healthier, be fitter, be less fat, and be able to look after my kids. So, not that I can't look after my kids, not that I'm saying fat people can't look after their kids, because, hey, that's just, but my point is I don't want to embarrass them. When they go to school and stuff, I don't want to be the dad that can't do stuff with them. I don't want to be the one that other kids are like, oh no, look at that fat cunt over there. I would go over to the parents and be like, I would like you to say to your kid that language is highly offensive. But besides that, I don't want to be in that situation. So I've really had the epiphany that, right, it's time to start, it's time to diet, it's time to be healthy. And as of recording, day one of the diet, so I have a sore head, I'm miserable. I have a wee notebook put down there that I have to fucking write what I've eaten in today, how many steps I've done. You might notice I don't have my step tracker. I'm mugging myself. I'm being mugged. I'm not happy. But whenever I decided, because to me, I think whenever you do, I don't want to say diet, because I don't want to diet. It's a change of lifestyle. It is to try and improve my way of life, okay? Now, will there be people out there on the Patreon that listened to the episode I did last week with Psychic Glenn, where he, to a greater or lesser extent, told me I'm going to get diabetes? Is that something? Coincidence. That's all I'm going to say. Coincidence. But I've decided, right, I need to do it. And one of the things, again, for me, if I'm making any kind of change, to make it be some sort of legitimate, sustainable change that I can make, I have to do things different, because I'm a habit guy. If I get into the good habits, I'm great, but if I'm in bad habits, I'm a naughty boy. I nearly call myself a naughty chef. I don't know what about the chefing industry makes you especially naughty, but I'm a naughty chef, and it is what it is. But I need to actively make changes. Now, I made a list of things that I thought, right, how can I improve myself? How can I make things sustainable to last me, that I'll not just pack it in? And so one of the first things I decided was, right, I'm feeling lethargic at the minute. I'm feeling like a big fat oaf, a big fat, tired, miserable bastard. So I thought, well, how can I possibly deal with this lethargy? How can I possibly approach the tiredness that I feel? And then I had to think, and I was like, I could just go to bed early. There's a startling affirmation there. Just go to bed early. So I've done that. Went to bed early the last couple of nights. To be fair, got up super early the last couple of days, but productive. Got stuff done. Yesterday, when I got up super early, I walked the dog before my wife, a nurse, went to work. And as you all know, the nurses go to work earlier than DTRJ, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, gets up to work out. Dwayne The Rock Johnson at 3 a.m. is either balls deep in a workout in the Iron Paradise or balls deep in French toast and cream. If he's awake at 3 in the morning, he's either working out or eating out food. I don't know. There could be all three. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if he's up at 3 a.m, he's either working out, he's either eating out, or he's either gobbling puss. Either way, that's all the big man's doing, 3 a.m. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, and I'm sure what it is probably just as his famous wedge of French toast. But that's what I said to myself. Listen, if you're going to get up, you need to get up as early as The Rock. You need to do one of those three things as well. You're getting up, you're either eating stinking food and drinking tequila, you're either working out, or you're eating butt. I mean, how did I transfer from pussy to butt? I don't know. 2022, you can do what you want. But I got up early at that sort of time of the day so as I could walk the dog before she goes and like looks after people or whatever. And I could walk the dog before my girls get up to just ruin my day. Now, to be fair, I feel like a wounded soldier because I've had the girls, both young children, under my care for the last 3 days with no respite, no parents, no way to just get rid of them, and one of them's just been sick. The baby has just been snotty and whingy, and from she's been awake till she slept, she's gone, eh. And I mean, as much as she's a great child and I love her to bits, that can grate on you a bit. So, I'm glad to be, changing the mindset and being healthy. Now, that what the downside of that is after 3 days of that, when you go on a diet, you get a wee sore head. My head's already sore. I've been listening to crying all day. I haven't been able to eat ice cream, which is my number one weakness in life. I love ice cream. Haven't been able to get any. And I'm grumpy. And I'm here to do the podcast by myself. But again, it's all about making those little changes and to be sustainable. So today, I got up bright and early, before anyone else in the house, and I went into my garage, which was very cold, by the way, very, very cold, and I feel like I'm a brave boy for actually doing that. I went out to the garage and I sat on the exercise bike for half an hour, and I just exercised, did a few crunches. Then my dog came and sat on top of me, and I was like, mate, what are you doing? And he was like, well, hey, you're working out, I'm just sleeping on top of you, and it is what it is. I feel bad showing him any kind of like negative response at the minute because I'm getting his balls cut off on Thursday and I feel terrible about that. So probably when you're listening to this podcast, my poor dog has no balls, and I feel horrendous about it. I've nearly said tremendous there. Absolutely not. I feel horrendous. I feel like I'm his boy. Like I feel he trusts me more than anybody, and I'm cutting his balls off, and I am torn up about it. But it has to be done, and I keep thinking it's really Sly to do it, and it's, I don't want to do that to the big guy, but then I let him off his lead today, and he just wouldn't come back, and he just kept running around people, and I thought, you know what, once bitten, twice shy, and by that I mean you fuck with me, I'll get your balls cut off, is what it is, across the board. So he came and lay on me when I was working out, and then after that, I got up, had some breakfast, got the girls' breakfast ready. By the time they woke up, I had half of my chores done for the day, put a wash on, did the dish. I mean, the morning, I'm a morning guy, and going to bed early helps me facilitate the morning. And already, day one into this program, I am feeling good. I was going to say good, I'm not really, I have a really sore head, but, physically, I feel good. I am, going cold turkey with ice cream here, but in the long run, I hope it's worth it, especially since I'm now scared of getting diabetes above all else. And he also said, Psychic Glenn said to me, oh, you'll feel it in your feet. And I was like, what? And he goes, the sugar. And I was sort of like, okay. But any time since then, I have had any pain in my feet. I'm like, oh no, he's fucking smited me. Not the fact that I've just been eating buckets of sugar for 35 years. No, the fact that a psychic told me last week, you're going to get diabetes. That's what's happened to me. His fault, not mine. But to go to bed early is good. I'm ditching the phone as well. I'm putting it away. I've decided in bed for 10, read to 10:30, sleep. Normally I'm like a midnight guy, but not anymore. Not anymore. But back to my point of feeling old and knowing that I'm old. And a thing that happens to you, like for me to do my wee like routines, I like to do things. I like to like signify I'm on a diet by doing certain things. One of the things I like to do is like make coffee in the morning. Like I like to get the whole, shebang out. I like to get the wee cafetiere out. I like to, build the coffee. I like to make it. I like it to be an experience. I like to put a little bit of boiling water in I like to warm up the cafetiere. I like to put it in just a small bit, mix it around with the wee tools. Which, by the way, Sensei Flood, JJ, John Joe bought me. Thank you for that. And by the way, if you want to listen to his episode, Patreon, it'll be there in a week or two. And enjoyed it. I enjoy that whole process. But to me, rather than just making a coffee, to do that process means like, oh, that's what I'm going to do, rather than just popping to fucking McDonald's to get a coffee and then going, I'll have a breakfast McMuffin as well. So it's those wee like habits. So I ordered myself online this coffee that I like a type of coffee. I ordered it, got it, it's coming. That's sign one. The big man's on a diet. Sign two that I'm a diet is something a little bit new. And I say a diet, I just use that phrase, but on a health kick, right? We'll say health kick. Number two, I ordered a lot of body moisturizer. Now, people are probably going to go, what does that, why are you ordering all this body moisturizer? I'm like, because I'm now an old guy, and old guys, I have discovered in probably the last week, cannot regulate their moisture levels in their body, because I have been getting dry and also moist in the wrong areas at the wrong time. So recently, like maybe in the last week or so, like this is the big starting moment, right? I don't know if there's any science behind this, any doctors, any scientists, get in touch. But do you get to a point in your life where you just you get dry? Like, do you just get dry and flaky? Like, I've spoken before about like enjoying moisturizing my hands. Like, I've always had dry hands, but like my whole body is now getting dry. Like at Christmas time, my mum bought me this weird little like brown bag of toiletries. Like it was molten brown, so I mean it must have cost her, an arm and a leg. But when I opened it, I remember looking at it going, fuck is this shit? Because there was about 12 mini bottles in it, like wee things like that, with like what I thought was shower gel. But out of say the 12, 4 were shower gels. I was like, 8 were body moisturizer. I was like, remember getting them going, fuck am I going to do with all this moisturizer? Like, it's stupid. Fast forward a month, I'm already down 3 bottles of the moisturizer. I just can't stop moisturizing myself. And it's only recently that I would get out of the shower and dry off and be like moving about. My skin would just be like, oh no, I feel so dry all over. And I've just been applying myself a moisturizer. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realised that's been something I've seen before but found weird. But as a young wet guy, as a young guy with a natural body moisture, maybe I didn't need to moisturise. But for years I would see old guys in the gym just standing there naked, big cocks, a lot of tan about them, just moisturising. Like a lot of old guys coming to the gym, you never see these guys in the gym or in the swimming area, only just naked in the changing rooms. Like just slapping the moisturizer on them, just slapping loads of it on them and just rubbing it in, just chatting to other naked old men, just lubed up with this. And I was like, what are these guys doing? But now, after like, maybe you hit 35, that's when you just dry up. My skin's just dry, but ever since that, I get out of the shower, I dry off, I put this moisturizer on, and I just feel like myself again. My elbows are dry, my hands are dry, my skin, but now I just put this moisturizer on, I'm feeling great again. Now here's where the trouble arises. Your body can no longer maintain the correct moisture level, because where my skin is getting drier, other bits of me are getting wetter, and that's where the talcum powder comes in. So it's a strange balance between moisturising your whole body and then putting talc on your pits and your undercarriage. You know what I mean? And I think, like, whenever you get to like a certain level, like the heater in your car just packs in, and some days it's boiling, some days it's freezing. I think that's kind of what happens to the body. You get to a certain age, and whatever way your hormones go, you just go, nah, I can't produce the right amount of hormones anymore. I can't produce the amount of body. My skin's dry and my balls are wet. Not in the good way. Not like you would rap about, shit, I got wet balls, baby. But like, I don't know why. I instantly, when I said rap, I went to Little John. You get wet balls, baby. Yeah. There's nothing to shout yeah about having dry skin. No way. So it started off at my elbows, and then started off my hands, and now my full body. I just have to moisturise. So I had to spend a bit, like, and again, as a full-time guy, I'm not getting that steady wage. Money just comes and goes, dribs and drabs. So I had to drop a decent amount of coin on like a lot of more, like, again, Vaseline intensive care, large bottles of moisturiser, just get myself lubed up after a shower. And that's part and parcel. When you exercise, you sweat, you need a shower, and then boom, the skin's dry, you need to moisturise. So please let me know if you're another person who likes to use moisturizer, I want you just to get in touch with the comments, whether it's in YouTube or whether, I mean, you can't really comment if you listen. I suppose you could wherever you listen. Where do people listen anyway? You know, do people listen on Apple? Like, you know, I listen to podcasts on Apple, but I think if you listen on Spotify, please give the podcast a wee 5 stars. It's simple over there, you just go over, but it helps the algorithm. And I know people listen to the podcast probably more than they watch it, which is, I mean, I do understand, because, you know, if you were watching just me, it's a bit weird to just watch one guy. So, but that's why more people are tuning into the old video podcast on Patreon with a guest, and it is what it is. But please let me know somehow. DM me on Instagram or send me a message on. In fact, send me an email on Patreon. Go on to Patreon, Sly Guy Podcast. Send me a mail there and be like, yes, mate, I moisturise too. I have very dry skin, and I have to moisturise. But it's all coming up to the point, you know. I have to do that. I have to use facial moisturiser. I have to use flipping under the eye stuff. And again, I look this shit. Imagine I didn't use these products. I would just look like a fat scab. Stinking. But you live and you learn, and hopefully my body will regulate itself at some point going forward, because life's fucking challenging, you know. Maybe I'm not drinking enough either. You know, maybe I'm not hitting my 3 litres of water a day that I've been instructed to do. But we can only monitor the situation. And the thing about it is too, I'm a hairy dude, but I mean, see, when I lift that up, it feels great. Like if Ben was here, I'd say, Ben, would you come over please and stroke me? And he'd probably be like, you are very soft for a hairy man. I'm like, hey, it is what it is, and there's a wee bit of bicep for you, whatever, don't worry about it. And if you're watching in work, don't blame me if you get sacked for explicitly sexual content. That was my bicep there. Is what it is. Speaking of explicitly sexual content, what I do want to do is, I haven't actually read the report, Sue Gray's report, like into old Boris and the parties at number 10. I mean, just want to say, is anybody startled that Boris is a tube? Like, is anybody startled that perhaps his leadership isn't going? I mean, if you're a guy who is the Prime Minister of the country and you look like a 3-year-old boy, you know, probably not the most reliable. Let's see. The news. I mean, we're on BBC, of course, we're getting there. Sue Gray, let's see what she has said. I'll move us out of the way for this. Sue Gray has blamed the failure of leadership for allowing parties to take place. The fact that this is even a thing is mental. Somebody has written a report into the fact that we were in the middle of a global pandemic, we're stuck inside, and these fucking pompous wazzocks are having parties. Again, am I shocked by it? No. But it's just, it beggars belief that this has happened. The senior civil servant says some events should not have been allowed to take place. Obviously, Miss Gray investigated 16 separate gatherings, including 3 that were not previously known about. Boris Johnson said he accepted the findings in full as he faced questions from MPs. Now, say what you want about Boris Johnson, he's a tube, definitely, undoubted. But I mean, he takes the shit. Like, he stands there and people just say all sorts to him, and he's like, but you know, blah, blah. And he just doesn't leave. It's like, oh, he's mad. These include an event on the 20th of May 2020, Bring Your Own Booze event in the Downing Street Garden, which the PM had apologised for attending. And the police are investigating a gathering on the 13th of November at Mr Johnson's flat, in his flat. What a tube. Miss Gray says she'd been extremely limited in how much she can say by the Met's inquiries, and she couldn't publish a meaningful report at this stage. But she does make criticisms of the culture at Downing Street. Well, all it is just an extension of this Bullington Club that these tough, rich, entitled, obnoxious bunch of bastards have been doing for years. And people are like, oh, well, let's pick these arrogant, obnoxious, entitled, selfish, self-serving bunch of rich leeching bastards. Let's vote for them, and expect them not to do whatever they want. These guys have probably been entitled all their lives. Little Lord Fauntleroy's just entirely from they were kids being spoiled. They don't know the fact that there are people out there not able to say goodbye to their loved ones. There are people who haven't been able to watch their parents. People have lost parents and children and family members, and they have died, and they've not been able to go to their funeral and grieve. And these arrogant twats are having parties. That in and of itself is the biggest slap in the face. And if Boris Johnson had any little particle of decency, he would just go, I'm sorry, I resign. I fuck this. I am an arrogant bastard who has, on my watch, let these other arrogant bastards who think they can do what they want, do what they want. And, if he doesn't go, or if they're not made to go, or there's no response to this, why should anyone ever listen to a Prime Minister again, really, And you think about the shit Theresa May got over Brexit and everything else, and looking back on it, she was a damn sight better than this dude. But it's mad. Like, I just still think it's mad that they, but what I will say is funny is now that in the House of the Commons everyone's wearing masks, whereas it's just mad. It's not surprising. It's just mad. And if I was Boris Johnson, I would just retire. Unbelievable. And then this report, these sort of things are annoying, because the report comes in, it's like, yeah, that obviously did it, so I just don't know. Theresa May said the COVID regulations impose significant restrictions on the freedoms of members of the public. They had the right to expect their Prime Minister to have read the rules, to understand the meaning of the rules, and indeed those around him to have done so too, and set an example. Look at Boris. Look at Hancock. These guys, rats. And then you look at Dominic Cummings. That guy, he was always gonna be the Judas, wasn't he? But again, if you're the Prime Minister and you get a guy like that in your team and you get rid of him, what do you expect? But to me, Boris, just his total aloofness and his level of arrogance just supersedes any kind of logic. He just thinks, I'll get away with it, and does. And the fact that anyone is surprised, that's what baffles me. It's like whenever I spoke about here a few weeks ago, and I said, like, the people who continually vote for the DUP and Sinn Féin are startled that we don't get anywhere. Both those parties are problems. Both of them clearly dislike the other side. Both of them stuck in the past. Both of them have hypocrites. But again, ultimately we're the ones who keep voting them in. Same with Boris. There was a big push obviously on social media for Jeremy Corbyn, but how weak must he have been in terms of leadership if people actually voted for this clown instead? So where is the feasible alternative to what's going on here across the board, both in terms of local politics and in terms of at Westminster? Vote for it. And again, I don't know, the opposition parties clearly need to do something if they're being trumped by these fucking tubes. It's a sad state of affairs. It's actually sad. Government that we have here are just, the governments we have are just fucking, it's sad. I was speaking too much about the government there. I've had my booster jab, I've had both my injections, and next thing you know, the camera shuts off. Now, people out there will go, it was actually probably because you don't have a producer this week and you're a useless bastard. True fans and people with knowledge will know the government, they heard what I was saying. They shut me down. They try to censor me. It is what it is. Hey, Boris, DP, Sinn Féin. You might try and silence me, but hey, I've got one of these for you. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But listen, we're getting waffly. We're getting into politics. Nobody wants to hear that. So I think we'll maybe just lighten things up and talk about Rihanna's great news this week. Now, the first thing you probably go is, oh, her pregnancy. Let's talk about Rihanna being pregnant. Nah, Rihanna has gone and done something more entertaining than getting pregnant. Which, to be fair, if you went out with A$AP Rocky, I'd be pregnant myself, wouldn't I? He's a very, very sexy guy. But Rihanna has gone and released some lingerie. But there's a catch in that. It's for men. So Rihanna has gone and decided to deliver this. I mean, what I can only describe as very lingerie for men. Now, I mean, a lot of the stuff is just sheer crop tops and really skin tight. I mean, look at this outfit. This is like effectively it's like once I do the washing in the house, I stick in the tumble dryer for 2.5 hours. Apparently you're not supposed to do that. All my t-shirts are like that. 9 times out of 10 I'll put a t-shirt on, it'll look like this. Admittedly, I don't have quite the abs. I mean, I do have abs, but they're hidden. This guy is more like me. This guy he's a bear. He's got, I mean, how do you just get this image up on the screen? This is a guy. It looks like he's just wearing. It looks like he's in some sort of fighter jet. It looks like he's wearing a seatbelt of a fighter jet and a pair of briefs with just a hog just hanging over the seatbelt. Now, what I would say about that is they're two handsome men, two men in good shape. Neither one of those men look good in this lingerie. Men are not designed for lingerie. Lingerie is a woman thing. Is a female body specific thing. Men just look special. They look rare. Like this guy here, look at him. He hates it. He's like, I look fucking stupid. This is a mug off. If it wasn't Rihanna making me do this, there's absolutely no way. To be fair, if Rihanna told me to wear a cheese grater on the end of my billiard, with tassels off my nipples, and a fish hook through my nose, I'd do it. Because Rihanna, super babe. I'm now pregnant. I don't mean that sounded especially creepy. I didn't mean, oh, why? I have a pregnant fetish. I meant, obviously, having learnt an awful lot about the aura of women over the last week on the podcast, I just respect and appreciate it. But it's safe to say that's not a good look. Rihanna makes great music. She does not make great lingerie, which is lingerie for men. And by the way, I realised I stroked my face there. I've been speaking an awful lot about moisturising. I put a face mask on me last night. I put a face mask on me, and all it has done is bring the oil to the surface of my skin and give me hives. And it said CBD in it. My wife put it on me, and I was like, oh, you feeling? I was like, I don't even know what CBD is. It's stupid. It doesn't make me feel any better. It's just made my face blotchy. I hate it. I also use like those wee feet bags. It's going to take all the dry skin off my feet, so make me look like a leper. I'm blotchy in the face. I look like I am burnt. I look like I've some sort of like plague. My face is covered in boils. The oil and boils brought to the front of my face. I look like I've got the plague in my face, and it looks like I've got leprosy on my feet. I'm dry all over, and my balls and ass are damp. And imagine all that wrapped up in a sexy wee lint chocolate, like what this outfit looks like you're just wrapped in lint wrapper. Not sweet. Rihanna, good luck with your pregnancy. Listen to the Dad Boys podcast for some advice. I'll just fire through some listeners' questions here before the memory in this fucking camera goes again, and I have mugged myself once more. I mean, could blame me for this, or you could just blame Ben for not being here, whatever. Let's see. First question's from my man Luke, aka Cry Visuals. He said, if you're doing a sly dig, what's your thoughts on people walking about with their flash on and on? I mean, I read that wrong. What's your thoughts on people walking around flashing? I'd be like, hey man, don't do it. Keep your dick in your budgie smugglers or in your Rihanna lingerie. But what are your thoughts on people walking about flashing with their flash on unknowingly in their iPhones? Absolutely drives me up the walls because I don't know how you can accidentally turn a flash on when your phone's in some dopey Poundland flip case. See, when you say that, I just want to say two words. My mum. Anything is conceivable with technology. And my mother, she would just be the sort, like, she's, again, it's only people in their 60s who have a case of their phone. Like, just have a case like this. Don't have a, you know, like, you don't have to, it's not a book. You're not carrying a book around with you. It's a phone. Just, you know, you don't have to open it up with all your fucking cards and receipts in your phone. You weirdo. But my mum would do that. She'd flip it open and the flash would be on. I'd be like, how's your flash on? She'd be like, I don't even know my phone had a flash. And then she spends 10 minutes trying to get the flash off. And then it's just drama. And then, did I nearly die there and suffocate during that sentence? Yes, I was so exasperated and dry, I just nearly burst. But yeah, totally conceivable that my mother would do that. So, I don't know if it annoys me. I just think there are simple people out there, my friend, and that's what I put that down to. Chris Reesy, this guy, who fucking blew my mind a few weeks ago. I don't know what he said here today. If a relative or somebody you loved committed murder, would you help them in covering it up? I mean, I think it's about time that there's Twilight Zone again. Yeah, that's deep once again. You're making me ponder, Chris. You're making me think, because there's different elements to that question. The first element being, you know, who is doing the murder, and like which family member has committed the murder. You know, who, you know, a lot of factors to think about there. Who is committing the murder? Who are they murdering? You know, what is their actus reus for it? Why did they do it? You know, what, like, you know, some members of my family would be like, nah, fuck you, you're on your own. Others, like, if it was my girls and they grew up and killed someone, you know, they do anything. Daddy's got their back. You know, if it was like, I haven't spoken about the phone. I could well see my mum accidentally killing somebody in the style of Mr. Bean. That would be conceivable. You know, she just accidentally do something, like she do like a Brian Harvey. She just like accidentally leave her car parked on a hill and just roll down and plow through people, and I'd be like, oh, I'll just have to kick them into the sea, wouldn't it? Help you. But it would be if my mum killed somebody, it would be an accident. It would be Mr. Bean like. If my dad did it, he'd have lost a rag and done a, you know, snapped and killed somebody that way. If it was my wife, I mean, she's a nurse, very possibly she has already killed somebody. I wouldn't help her because I'd be like, oh, she'd kill me next. But my girls, yeah. And if it was somebody that deserved it, now again, I've just finished the new series of Dexter. So, I mean, you know, you're looking at people, do they deserve to be killed? Some people, you know. I mean, my view would be, yeah, absolutely, some people deserve to be killed, you know. For example, see if anybody did anything to my children, ever, and they went to prison and got out, I would look for you. I would find you. And I would kill you. I think that's true. You think if anyone fucked with my kids, I would kill them and not worry about it, and then help cover it. In fact, I probably wouldn't cover it up. I'd probably take pride in it. Naomi Mitchell said the actress to the bishop. So this is going to be cheeky, I'm sure. Oh wow. Knob throwing festival in Dorset cancelled after growing too large. Whoa. A knob throwing contest in Dorset has had to be cancelled after it grew too large for organisers. Now, I mean, indeed. The event was due to take place in Cattystock on May 1st alongside the Frome Valley Food Festival, which has also been called off. A contest sees people lining up to throw a Dorset knob, a hard biscuit, as far as they can. The record set in 2012 currently stands at 96 feet. This year will be the third year in a row the event has not gone ahead as COVID cancelled the last ones. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I think more people should take the streets and just start fucking firing their knob up the streets. Like, there's that weird game that they play up in the country, where it's just a load of old men with metal fucking balls just firing them down the street. And I don't know how it works, but, you know, I was driving down the road one day and thought one of these fucking things, you know, we seeker nearly hit my car, and again, I would get out, I would look for you, I would find you and I would kill you. But guys, don't fucking cancel knob throwing, Jesus Christ. John Kennedy said, what do you think of the NFL? Shit. Liam I'm so rude. No, I don't watch the NFL. I think rugby's better. And, there you go. Liam O'Connor says, you spoke last week about Afterlife and how shite the new season is. Would you agree that Ricky Gervais has been going downhill in general since he stopped working with Stephen Merchant? That's hard. That's kind of like being asked would a cover from a family if they murdered, because Ricky Gervais is my man. He is the guy that I love the most. And in terms of comedy, I don't just generally speaking, but he there's been a few things he's done that I've not enjoyed. Like, I didn't like Ricky Gervais, David Brent, like Life in the Road, didn't like that. After season 3, I just thought, was Netflix going, we need another series? And he's like, oh, but I've kind of finished already, already. And they're like, no, we need another one. And then it's like, oh, there we go, Tony's miserable again, and fucking get over it. Why is Ratty and the Nonce in it without the psychiatrist? Why is the prostitute not in it? Ruined it. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I definitely think they're one of the greatest writing teams ever, if not the great, and they should just get together. Oh, the Big Oil, Danny Dowling has said, how old is too old? Just turned 47. And a horny 58-year-old is sending me filthy messages. She's a grandmother. Hey, man. Grandmothers need a bit of that juice as well, my friend. You know what I'm saying? They need loving too. Age is but a number. As long as it's over the legal age of consent, I think, if you're down, you're down. Like I was saying about my own body, you need a little bit of lube. Sometimes the older you get, the more lube you need. But people often say, bit of grease on a classic car. It's an experience. Darren Matthews said, have drug dealers ruined Range Rovers for middle class people? You know what? I think drug dealers have ruined a lot for a lot of people, not just middle classes. I think they're a scourge in society, and I think they need to be stopped. I think the PSNI in their sexy new outfits need to get out there and crank down on that. But yeah, you wouldn't catch me in a Range Rover. Not because of drug dealers, just because I'm poor, but that's neither here nor there. Wormball said maybe Glenn is correct about the root. That's reference to my root chakra. That and he said goddess Glenn, psychic Glenn, and I mean he is a goddess to me as well, so we'll not worry about it. Oh shit. Jesus Christ, what you scare shit of me, Wormball. Joey Badass, I mean, is that a wrestler? Says he doesn't ejaculate during sex to preserve his life force, and he thinks masturbation is weird. Hey man, everyone masturbates in the world. Monkeys are the less evolved version of humans, and they stand in zoos all day, pulling the wire of themselves and throwing spunk at children. That's all I'm saying. It's natural to do it. When the topic of oral sex came up, Joey mentioned he'd prefer not to ejaculate and was asked if that meant full stop. I mean, do you just... I don't ejaculate, baby. I don't even know if that's why he speaks when go for it. I'd rather not bust a nut, period, he said. It's just going to sound crazy, but I prefer to preserve my life force. When a man ejaculates, there's a lot of things that leave your body. There's blood cells, there's testosterone, energy, you get depleted. They say it's like the equivalent of running 20 miles when you bust a nut. Hey, well then I'm an ultramarathon runner, aren't I, my friend? Whoa. He said he's been doing this for like 2 years, so he's been busting before and then just recently. I think what's happened to him is he's just busted so much over the years, he's beaten his dick into submission and he just can't come anymore. Maybe that's what's happened to old Joey Badass, which by the way, great name. Leah said, where were you, brother, when Hulk Hogan, brother, scooped up Andre the Giant, brother, and slammed him, brother, into the mat at WrestleMania 3, brother? I mean, WrestleMania 36 or something it is now, isn't it? 37, 38, who knows? I was probably a baby, a wee nipper, so I don't think I would have seen that, but again, I've seen the clip, and impressive, brother. Lisa Yates said, have you seen Belfast? No, not yet, but it is on my to-do list. I have to check that out, because I'm interested in it. It's one of those things. Phil has said, who's your favourite legal player? Hey, fuck off. He is referencing the worst experience of my life on Kieran Bartlett's Knob Lasters podcast, which, by the way, was the greatest setup in combat sport history since, or even superseding, the Montreal screw job, where Bret Hart got screwed by Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels. Disgusting. Kieran and his two wee, I was going to say cohorts, but I'll change it, his two wee knobs behind the screen. Oh, we nerds at fucking computer games. Oh, we're mid-30s and we're playing video games. Stop. You screwed me over. I should be allowed to use the buttons right. And Kieran, I challenge you on the PlayStation in front of an audience. I'll pull down your pants. I'll smack your bare bum. I'll spank you. John McAleenan has said, will Beansy ever make a return? Unfortunately, Beansy is dead. He's been killed off season, never to be returned. And last question, Adam Casey has said, please impersonate Boris the same way as you impersonated Van Morrison. You know what? I think Boris impersonates himself. I think he's a parody and a character and an arsehole. So guys, I mean, that's all I can do because I don't know how much memory this stupid memory card's going to have on this stupid camera, what setting I have, what setting the audio is. Who knows? How long even is this podcast? Could be 10 minutes, could be 4 hours. Who knows? There we are. All done. And guys, thank you again. If you want bonus podcasts with the guests, patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. If you would mind, rate and review the podcast, and it helps the algorithm. Again, people tell me this, helps the algorithm. Don't know what that is. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you don't watch on YouTube, just Google Sly Guy Podcast YouTube, go on to it and then subscribe to my channel. I don't even know what it is. Help me, please. Guys, I'm firing myself. I'm no longer the producer of the podcast. Take care. See you next week. Bye.
I'm the Sly Guy.